This is Greenshoe Radio, brought to you by Greenshoe Media Group. I'm your host, Mark Bunting. Our guest today is Michael Dufresne, lead technical consultant at Grizzly Discoveries. The company trades under the ticker symbol GZD on the TSX Venture exchange. It also trades over the counter in the US under GZDIF, and it trades in Frankfurt under the ticker G6H. Michael, how are you, sir?
Very good. Thanks, Mark.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Let's dive straight into it here. Grizzly has a couple of projects in southern BC, right on the U.S. border. One is called RoboCop Battery Metals. The other is Greenwood Precious Battery Metal Project. So for those who may not be familiar, can you give us a sort of a brief, broad strokes overview?
Sure. My pleasure. The RoboCop project is in eastern BC, right up against the U.S. border, north of the Flathead Valley. It's a copper, cobalt, silver battery metal project. It's about 10,000 acres, and it's hosted near the northern edge of the highly prospective, what we call the Proterozoic Purcell Belt of the rocks. And this belt is special. It's host to a number of world-class copper, cobalt, silver deposits and mines and advanced projects, including Jervois' Idaho Cobalt Project, Hekla's Troy and Rock Creek Mines and Advanced Project, and Sandfire's Black Butte Mine, which is just into construction. So a number of highly prospective copper, cobalt, silver deposits are potentially going to come on stream. The Greenwood Project is a precious metal battery metal project, and it's got a large property holding of 160,000 acres in the highly productive and I think still highly prospective Republic Greenwood district. To date, that district has produced in excess of 7 million ounces of gold and close to 1 billion pounds of copper. There are a couple of very recent mining operations with modern mills that are on care and maintenance, both in the US and Canada, on either side of the border. And there's a number of projects still with resources in the ground, particularly in the US side. Hecla and Caliber Mining have combined about 5 million ounces in resources, and they're all related to the prospective graben geology and mineralization, which is related to the three specific grabens: Republic, Terota, and the Rock Creek graben. And these grabens exist up into Canada, and much of the Grizzly lands cover these grabens.
All right, very good. Nice, thorough explanation there. Now, the company has said, Mike, that they're looking to drill this year and release a mineral resource update either later this year or early next. Let's focus on RoboCop here. You've said that it's similar to the Idaho Cobalt Project. How so? And how have you gone about zeroing in on your drill targets?
Yeah, excellent question. It's correct. On both projects, the goal is to make a significant discovery by drilling and move towards a resource by the end of the year or early next year. The RoboCop property in particular is hosted in sandy siltstones of the Purcell Group, known as the Belt Group in the US. These rocks are roughly about 1,400 million years old. And the copper, cobalt, silver mineralization is of an age that's pretty close to that age, about 1,400 million years old, and basically coeval with the deposition and burial of those sedimentary rocks. And this time matches, is close in time, and the geology is equivalent to the Idaho Cobalt Project that Jervois has, both on the geology, mineralization, and timing. Historical drilling led us to the project. There was about 15 historic holes that have been drilled in the 80s and 90s by Teck in particular. What we've done to upgrade the project is conducted a modern time domain electromagnetic survey, which detects conductivity associated with sulfide minerals. And these sulfide minerals are present in this type of sediment-hosted base metal deposit, as we call it. In addition, we have coupled this with systematic soil sampling and prospecting for copper, cobalt, silver, and we've identified highly anomalous soils in copper and cobalt with a number, spatially related to a number of these conductivity anomalies that we detected in the airborne survey, as well as we've found a couple of new copper-bearing float samples that are coming down the mountainside. So we're pretty ecstatic with what we found to date, and we've really upgraded this property, and we are waiting to get our drill permits.
All right, now moving over to Greenwood, Grizzly drilled that project between 2010 and 2012. There was a lull of 8 years for various reasons, and then you restarted drilling in 2020. Now, the company has also added to the land package with a few key historical mines, including Midway, which we're going to get into. And as you've said, the Republic Greenwood District is a prolific region for production. So what would you say is unique about Grizzly's Greenwood project?
Sure. Grizzly's project at Greenwood is, for my mind, one of the biggest single land holdings of any company in British Columbia in a highly prospective and productive belt such as the Republic Greenwood District. I believe the belt is very underexplored, and there's reasons for that. There are literally more than 100 historical mines for gold, silver, copper, lead, zinc. And this district suffered for many years from a fragmented land position. And evidence of this is, I mean, here's a district with 7 million ounces of gold and basically a billion pounds of copper. And evidence of this fragmented nature is a database of less than 800 historical drill holes. This district really should have 5,000 to 10,000 drills. Grizzly conducted the first significant, amalgamating all this land. They were able to conduct the first significant and modern airborne survey. Again, one of these time domain electromagnetic surveys, along with systematic prospecting and rock sampling. I mean, Grizzly's collected 4,000 rock samples, 13,000 soil samples, and we identified numerous new targets, assisting in the de-risking of this project. To date, Grizzly's drilled about 88 holes for about 15,000 meters, but this project needs a lot more. Needs a lot more drilling. The land package is situated over these three grabens that I've mentioned, these three graben-like structures that are cored by Paleozoic to Triassic volcanics and sediments. And there are at least 4 different age intrusive events that have yielded world-class epithermal gold-silver deposits, copper, gold, silver skarns, and the potential for copper, gold, silver PGE porphyries. And there are some world-class deposits in this belt to the west and northwest already.
Now, Michael, I saw Grizzly CEO Brian Testo interviewed fairly recently, and he said, quote unquote, "We're big into silver," and that the Midway mine, which was purchased late last year, is the flagship and maybe the most exciting prospect. So can you give us some more details about Midway?
Yeah, absolutely. And Grizz, as he is known as, Brian Testo, is absolutely high on silver. As everybody knows, the gold silver ratio is way out of whack from historic times. But that was the reason behind a couple of these acquisitions. We've actually made 2 key acquisitions: the Midway mine, along with the historical Imperial mine, and they're new acquisitions basically as of the last 12 months. And they represent small to moderate tonnage historical mines, but with very high grade silver and to a degree gold values and some polymetallic opportunities with lead, zinc, and copper. The Midway mine itself produced from 3 levels in the mid to late 1980s and was shut down during an extremely low price environment, even though reportedly it made money. I mean, at the time, silver and gold were $5 an ounce and $300 an ounce, respectively, as opposed to today's prices. The Midway geological setting is similar to many of the high-grade producers in the district, hosted in Triassic Brooklyn Formation sediments in contact with serpentinites exhibiting liswonite alteration within a window of the Terota Graben. What comes to mind is the Lexington and Golden Crown mines are recent examples of this style and setting, but there are a number of them. Our recent work has shown values at surface in selective samples on the order of 40 to 60 ounces per ton silver and 1/3 to 2 ounces per ton gold. The Midway and Imperial mine areas have seen very limited exploration. The Imperial mine is hosted in a very similar geological setting and only about 5 or 6 kilometers away from the Midway mine. And it is also hosted in Triassic Brooklyn Formation sediments in contact with serpentinites with this very distinct liswonite alteration. It was in production by a private company in the early 2000s and actually has some modern accessible underground workings. And the Imperial mine has produced significant silver numbers similar to Midway, but also has seen very limited exploration similar to Midway. So we're pretty high. We're going to be doing ground geophysics, soil sampling, and a water rock sampling, and we hope to get underground on one or both of these this year, and then we will follow that up to drilling.
All right, very good. Now, Mike, you touched on the geological setting of Greenwood overall and the potential for copper, gold, silver, platinum group element porphyries as well. Do you want to expand on that at all, or do you want to move on a little bit?
No, I'll expand on that.
Okay.
So, I visited the Greenwood project on a number of occasions with some big companies, and they all thought it was prospective for porphyries. The Greenwood district is part of what we call the Quinalia terrain, which is host to a number of exhumed grabens with these older and deeper buried rocks that were part of an old island arc, and they're now being exposed. And they include a number of well-known alkalic porphyry systems that in particular are associated with late Triassic to early Jurassic time and intrusive activity. World-class Copper Mountain Camp near Princeton. It's only 100 kilometers to west of Greenwood. And the Highland Valley Copper Mine near Kamloops are part of the endowment related to a number of these alkalic porphyry systems in this terrain. A common underlying factor is the presence not only of these Jurassic intrusive complexes, but also continued long-lived intrusive activity during the Jurassic Cretaceous and into the east. And this is often associated with these continued exhumation of these older portions of the terrain. The Greenwood district has all of these elements: older late Paleozoic, Triassic sedimentary volcanic package, and then multi-phase, multi-age intrusive activity, Triassic, Cretaceous, and Eocene. I regard it as highly prospective for porphyries.
Now, in terms of dollars and the drilling plan, Grizzly said it's going to spend as much as $2.5 million as part of a 10,000 meter drilling program. Can you elaborate on the actual plans?
Absolutely. Yeah, we have some follow-up drilling that is warranted from some of the work we did over the last 2 years at Dayton, the Mother Lode and the Ket 28 targets. These are permitted for additional drilling. We are planning some holes at all 3 of these targets. Meanwhile, we have new permit applications that have been submitted for new drilling at the Midway and Imperial Mines, of course. And we have a number of other targets. The Sappho, which is a porphyry target. Copper Mountain also has some porphyry skarn potential, and of course, Robocop. The plan is to commence drilling sometime during the summer and drill through to late fall. And in the Greenwood district, we can drill right up to Christmas. Depending upon results, if we have some early success, we'll bring in a second drill for resource drilling at one or more of the prospects while we continue the exploration drilling.
Mike, Grizzly has said that exploration costs are among the lowest in BC. Is that in large part because southern British Columbia is a mature mining region and the infrastructure is plentiful and everything's there for you?
Absolutely. I think it's access to labor, access to drills, and access in general. And Highway 3 that connects Alberta to Vancouver runs right through the center of the property, along with a major pipeline and transmission line. The project's in an area of active logging and farming, along with literally 100 historical mines. For me, access is unparalleled for British Columbia and Western Canada, and we've managed to keep, the drilling costs in that $250 to $300 a meter, which is some of the lowest all-up costs I think you would see across Canada.
All right, so you've nicely detailed these 2 polymetallic mines, and you'd like to be able to produce material for the nearby Golden Crown Mill, which I understand is on care and maintenance right now, and it's also going through some ownership issues. But Grizzly has said that maybe not in a perfect world, but ideally you'd own that mill. What are the odds of that? And without getting too deep into the weeds in terms of what's going on with the ownership right now.
Yeah, that's an excellent question. The current lien holder of a bunch of Canex Gold assets, including the Golden Crown Mill, is Ruby Capital, and they have announced that they're pressing forward filing in the BC courts to take possession of the Greenwood project for a variety of reasons. We have been in touch with them, and certainly I think we will get a look, because obviously a merger or toll treating agreement between us and whomever ends up with that package would be ideal. We would like to own it, but obviously that's going to take a significant capital raise. The mill is in good shape, and they have some excellent property there. So But a merger of that group and our package would obviously be something to look at.
All right, Mike, for investors, as we wrap this up, would you say that the overall value proposition for Grizzly Discoveries is centered on three things, essentially: the drilling results that come from the drilling that you're planning, the potential for discovery, which you've been detailing, and just generally proving out the resource?
We've had some discoveries. We hope to expand upon those and get and provide some new ones to the market. And I think we hope to see an appreciation in that stock price at every one of those milestones.
All right, Mike, thanks a lot for your time today and for giving us more detail on Grizzly. We'll be following.
Thank you very much, and look forward to the field season. And basically, when I get back, it's going to be get it underway. So, absolutely, we hope everybody can watch.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Mike. We'll talk to you soon.
Take care, Mike.
Our guest has been Michael Dufresne, lead technical consultant at Grizzly Discoveries. Thank you very much for listening to Greenshoe Radio. I'm Mark Bunting. Until next time, bye for now.